It's Saturday on Your View. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the show. I am Veronica Dan Ikoy, and as usual, I'm not here alone. I have my co-hosts, beautiful ladies of the show this morning. Good morning, ladies. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. We missed you.
It's been a while.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. It was necessary to get some rest before returning back to work, revitalized. But how are you ladies doing?
We're fine.
I'll begin with you, Toby.
Yes, so it's been back-to-back on the show this week. And I had more experience, and it was just beautiful to see how the show runs during the week. But then, away from the show, Ashiri's Open Secrets, I'm part of the planning committee, and the event is tomorrow. So I'm really just excited because the event is going to happen tomorrow, and we'll see the product of our hard work over the months. And I'm really just excited generally.
That's good. Good to hear. All right, Damola.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm fine. My week has been productive, and I've just been taking it easy. And there's this story. Yeah, there's this story of just too funny. That when you mentioned Ashiri, it just reminded me of Just Too Funny, who featured on
America's Got
Talent,
and how he went there to display his talents, and then at the end of the day, crack them up. When the story broke, all Nigerians became incredibly proud of him, and then as usual, we always give the platform their highest engagement because Nigerians are very supportive. Wherever we see any of our own winning, we just go there. And,
they will want to know.
Exactly. We just hype them up, and it just makes me really proud of being a Nigerian when I see that spirit.
Absolutely.
Nice.
So where?
Dario Vijabu Girl is. I'm enjoying that. I really am. I was supposed to drop a video this morning, but I haven't slept. I'm going to be at Ashiri tomorrow.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm going to be there tomorrow. I just have to, what they say, you support each other, and you don't, not when we start shutting down London, then you will not be like,
when I was doing Nigeria.
So now we can say we supported when he was doing Nigeria, and now we're going to support when he's going to London. Is going to shut down the world as well positively. Amen. And there are many platforms for Nigerians to excel, and I think it's very important. I love what Just Too Funny did. He didn't try to break a Guinness record. He chose to do America's Got Talent. I don't want all Nigerians to now rush to America's Got Talent.
Because that was what happened.
There are loads of platforms that we can use to project ourselves, but there's a lot of positivity in Nigeria, and we should not let the slight negativity that we see in the news keep us from taking advantage of those opportunities.
Yes, explore the platforms you can, that can project your gifts. And for me, my week was also productive.
You look well rested.
Oh, it's necessary. I had to get that rest. Recall, we had a conversation before I left. But I had a productive week, returning back to work, getting into the groove and all of it. But at the same time, I took time out to be a part of a program that was organized for young persons. It has to do with financial literacy. So there's this team of persons called QNet and another group that came together to put up, this program for 25 young persons to help them understand what financial literacy is about and how they can kickstart their businesses and move forward. So I was part of that. And then the down point for me this week was the passing of Pastor Taiwo Odukoya. So, just the complexity of life. You see that a good person, whether you're good or not, life does not understand that. Everybody has his or her own dose of complexities of life. So how you sail through it is also, how you sail through it is also very important. And the fact that he put himself together, going through all of this graciously and still standing for everyone, and still trusting God through the journey of everything. But he is resting now, and we pray that his family get some respite despite the happenings. One day, everyone will leave this earth. Well, this is where we'll leave this conversation. But let's tell you that life itself is a story, a recollection of events that shape one's journey on earth. Do you want to share parts of these stories with us on Your View? This will enable people to share in your experience and learn valuable life lessons from them. So you can also get answers to troubling questions and possible solutions to any challenge you are facing. You can do this anonymously or otherwise. Send such touching stories to us on yourview@tvccommunications.tv. Tell us your story today. Share your burning issues with us on YourView on TVC. Let's head straight to the papers now, and I begin with the Nation newspaper. The major story here says US, ECOWAS warn Niger junta over ousted president. EU, AU, that's the European Union, the African Union expressed concern over Bazoum's poor condition in detention. And then another story here, tragedy as 4 die in Zaria Central Mosque collapse. Tragedy as 4 die in Zaria Central Mosque collapse. Resident doctors suspend strike to review progress in 2 weeks. That comes as some good news. Resident doctors suspend strike to review progress in 2 weeks. My battle with prostate cancer by Tope. You find the details inside this newspaper this morning. Obaseki, my deputy, is so desperate for power, he plotted coup against me. Governor of Edo State speaking. I went to jail 40 times in 6 years. Wow, interesting. Now, 3 IPOB ESN members killed as military vows fresh onslaught. Reports CBN owes JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, $15 billion cash receipts. Apex Bank pledged foreign securities in return for cash. Who has what story? Right.
I'd like to begin with the story of Bishop Reynold Bell.
Okay.
And
it says, story, yeah.
No, it's on the front page, and it says, I went to jail 40 times in 6 years, says drug dealer turned motivational speaker. And he...
Seriously?
Yes.
No,
so he has told the story to inspire people to say you can turn your life around at any time. And he told us how he, grew up. His parents were alcoholics. His father introduced his mother to alcohol, and that goes to show the impact of your actions on your children. Don't just assume that they do not understand what you're doing. It actually has impact on them, because this man actually said that in most of his childhood pictures, he saw alcohol bottles around him because his parents were always dropping him off at alcohol shops, and that was how he grew up, and he could not even finish secondary school.
He didn't know anything else.
Exactly. And then he dropped out, became an alcoholic, marijuana, started selling drugs, went to jail 40 times for different issues, assaulting, stealing, fighting, and all of that, until he met God, and that changed his life around. And so he's going around now in the US saying that, inspiring people to say you don't have to allow your background to determine, your future and all of that. So it's quite inspiring.
I like the story. It's a good one to encourage people. But let me quickly take this story on Professor Tope talking about his battle with prostate cancer. We know that in this part of the world, most people do not share their stories and experiences, especially when it comes to health challenges. And it's a good one coming from him because of his influence, the influence he wields in the society, talking about this and how it's important for men to begin to pay attention to their prostate. If you are 40 years upward, it's important that you begin to pay attention to your prostate. He found out last year, and he's lucky to have had, persons who are medical professionals who were able to attend to him and are still overseeing his health as it is to ensure that he's stable. They have told him he needs to relax and take things easy. We know how involved he was with the elections last year and early this year, but right now he needs to focus on his health with regards, especially because of his age at this time. We know that prostate cancer kills a lot of men in this part of the world if they do not pay attention and detect it early enough.
I have the story on resident doctors suspend strike. You would recall that the strike began on the 26th of July. And there were meetings with the National Executive Council, and gratefully, they have been told to suspend their strike to resume work today, the 12th of August, by 8 a.m. So we would also recall that some of the demands that they made includes the review of the consolidated medical salary structure, payment of the 2023 Medical Residency Training Fund, issuance of circular by the Federal Ministry of Health for replacement of the doctors and nurses that have left the system with new ones, and the payment of salary arrears, improvement in hazard allowances by state governments, among others. So there will be a review on the progress made in terms of the implementation of their demands in another 2 weeks. But this is such a good news today.
Yeah, it's a good news. You recall that they also suspended their protest over the week. They were supposed to go on a protest on Wednesday. They suspended that. But it has been said that the low-hanging fruits with their demands, government should begin to look into all of those issues. So we are still looking through the newspaper headlines and still on the front page of the Nation newspaper. Tope, you have a story here.
Yes, I wanted to take the story about the IPOB ESN members that were killed. So 3 IPOB / ESN members were killed in a special police raid. The team stormed into their camp. The camp is found around Igbo's in North Local Government, Enugu State. They killed 3 people. It was an ensuing gun duel, and they also recovered a few items. They were able to recover 4 pump action. They recovered locally fabricated revolver, pistols, 67 live cartridges, and military camouflage uniform, fabrics of IPOB insignia, and objects that were similar to amulets and recriminating exhibits were recovered by the police. The police commissioner for Enugu State, Ahmed Amani, has lauded a successful operation. It is in a constant oppressive to quell the people that are enforcing the illegal sit-at-home within Enugu State. And we must applaud those that the successes they've recorded so far. We're hoping they are able to effectively put an end to what has become a challenge to the citizens within the Southeast and their inability to be able to carry out the activity. They have a call line. It's a police command emergency hotline. It's in the papers. I would like anybody from the Southeast to get those numbers so that if you see anyone that is enforcing the sit-at-home, or you cite anyone that is with gunshot wounds around, because a lot of the IPOB and ESM members sustained gunshot wounds during the attack, and they are going to be seeking treatment, they should call those numbers. So I would like Nigerians to take ownership of this journey in protecting themselves by taking those numbers and informing the police when they see or suspect anyone involved. And there were also a lot of other operations that were reported in the papers, but I have to say that the police is doing a whole lot to bolster confidence in of the citizens towards their action, a list of all the criminals they've been able to arrest within the Southeast, and we're hoping they have the best of luck in continuing to catch these people and reduce the number of Nigerians being, I don't know, it's just such a sad thing that
it's
you
sad
have work, but you cannot
we're
work.
talking about the number of losses they have incurred as a result of this sit-at-home order. Talking about economically, how they have lost a huge chunk of monies in the past years. But then, well, we've seen action being taken now. We hope it is sustained at the end of the day. We'll move on quickly to the Punch newspaper. The major story here, Nigerians in Niger beg federal government for evacuation over impending attack. Say hosts are already displaying hostility, fears xenophobic attacks. NEMA, NIDCOM plan repatriation if required. ECOWAS defense chiefs meet in Accra today. Now, another story here. Northern women face divorce, trauma for receiving treatment from male doctors. An interesting story there. Another one here, why I stopped Shuaibu from entering my house. Obaseki, governor of Edo State, speaking. And another one, household where husband, wife, son are vulcanizers. Family trade, household where husband, wife, son are vulcanizers. Then on the top corner, we have how Tinubu Erufai ministerial deal crumbled. Why DSS voided Kaduna governor's initial clearance. Who has what story here?
I have the household where husband, wife, son are vulcanizers. So there's this popular family in Samod Street in New Garage, Ibadan, where all the family members are vulcanizers. And the husband says he's a professional tire technician. Please. Professional tire
I like that
technician. And he happened to be doing this for 14 years before.
Wow.
For 14 years. He had actually tried fashion designing. It didn't work. He tried Okada riding, that's motorcycling, and it also didn't work. So he decided to stay on this one as a professional tire technician. And his wife is also an NC holder. She was working in a primary school before as a teacher, but found out that this work was more lucrative and decided to join her husband in this trade. Alongside, she also sells yam on the streets. And then the son also was interested when he was 5 and actually just joined the family. Now he's 8 years old. He aspires to be a medical doctor in the future. But this story just highlights the resilient nature of human beings and Nigerians especially, knowing fully well that if one way, Yorubas say on if one way doesn't work, they would always just pick up immediately and do something else. I'm really so proud of this family, and I hope that their enterprise can expand to other parts of the country.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see that they are educated to an extent, and they still have ambition, especially for the child who is being ambitious, saying that he wants to become a medical doctor at the end of the day. So learning the skill is still also very good. So let me quickly take the major story here, talking about Nigerians in Niger begging the federal government for evacuation over impending attack. And they are scared about xenophobic attacks. We recall how South Africa and Nigeria at some point when there was xenophobic attacks towards Nigerians in South Africa. So they are scared now that the Nigerians are becoming hostile towards them because of, the sanctions and all of it. So they are asking the federal government to begin to look at bringing them back home. And you know how closely knit we are with regards to the boundaries between Niger, Nigeria. So how we'll begin to separate these persons, because we have married each other as it is. So some persons, they'll tell you that the distance is like between a sitting room and a bedroom. So how do you begin to identify who is a Nigerian here? Do we have documents that really separate these persons if we are talking about repatriating them? We know that we also have a number of persons who are displaced, also living in Niger because of the Boko Haram attacks in the northeast. So it's a lot for the government as it is. That's why a lot of persons are saying that government needs to manage the situation as much as possible so that it doesn't spill beyond what it is at this point.
I would have thought that they would have, evacuated Nigerians first before sending in the military.
Well, there are two categories of there. The northern Nigerians, I think it will be a tough thing to evacuate because they are like family.
They are family,
I'm sure
closely knit.
Nigerians that are from south, and our southeastern brothers, they would be trading in such a place. They might find it. They might be the ones more requesting for evacuation because they are obviously not able to blend in the way.
And the use of military, let's also understand that the chairman of ECOWAS, that's President Bola Tinubu, said it's a last resort. It's not as if they are going in now. It's a standby force. So they are still looking at having engagements, having dialogue, diplomatic engagements. It is when that breaks down that they would step in using force. Any other story here?
Yes, I have the story of the northern women who face divorce trauma for receiving treatment from male doctors. And this is actually prevalent in states like Sokoto, Bauchi, Zamfara, Kebbi, Jigawa, and all that. And the story highlighted, should I say, the news highlighted the story of a certain Halima, who actually went into labor, and because there were no female doctors around, she had to allow a male doctor to attend to her. And despite the fact that she was in coma for 3 days and she even lost the baby, when she got back home, the husband was threatening her with a divorce, that you should not have allowed a man to touch you and to see your private parts and all of that.
Wow.
And it just makes me think, this was a woman that was literally fighting for her life. So how would she have been able to discriminate or to tell the doctor, please don't touch me, you're a man? It was between her life and what the husband, you know, would have wanted. And it is not, she's not the first person going through this. It's like a, you know, a trend in the northern part of Nigeria, where, you know, husbands do not allow their wives to, you know, to be attended to, no matter what. And this cleric is saying that it is actually against, you know, a doctrine in Islam, but then you can allow it if there's an extreme case, you know, of life and death. So we just hope that, you know, there can be more exposure and understanding, you know, and, you know, just bending the rules a bit. So
when it comes to religion,
you know,
it's a lot.
I know.
All right, let's quickly move on to the Daily Sun. ECOWAS orders deployment of troops to Niger Republic, directs defense chiefs to activate standby force. AU-UN officials present at meeting. And another story here, tackle insecurity, revive dead industries. CSO still Tinubu, 21 killed in midnight attack in Plateau. Governor expresses worry over renewed killings. Ministerial list, Ohaneze accuses Tinubu of shortchanging Southeast. Southeast governors meet in Enugu, vow to end insecurity in zone. Kidnapping reducing in Southeast. We are getting that information here. Edo Deputy Governor Shaibu may join APC next week. Who has what story here, basically?
Now, lots of stories. But I want to take the story about the illegal possession of firearms. The court has fixed for the suspended governor of the central bank. He's going to be answering for the fact that he was in possession of illegal firearms, and he will be answering that case August 15th, that's next week. And the expectation is that Emefiele had tried to stop this further prosecution. You know, he was trying to appeal to the court not to try this particular case, but the justice in charge, Justice Nicholas Owiebo, has fixed the date for hearing, and he has said this would enable the defense to reply to the prosecution's further counter affidavit. I don't understand why there will be a case and people will be going to court to stop the opposition from trying their case. But we're hoping that anything concerning Governor Emefiele is done to the by the book, to the letter. A lot of Nigerians hear his name, and it's with a sort of like negative feeling that comes with it. But we also don't want any issue with the rule of law. So we're happy that this is following, the court case is following due process, and we're looking forward to on that date to hear what the details of that process would be.
Quickly,
there will be any struggle.
Kidnapping reducing in Southeast. It's important to take that story. The Chief of Army Staff, Major General Taoreed Lagbaja, has said that the case of kidnapping and other criminal activities in the Southeast geopolitical zones are declining. He went on to applaud the efforts of the Nigerian Army in conjunction with other security agencies to reduce this drastically. And I feel like it's good news, knowing fully well that when we speak about the South, we'd probably just worry about kidnapping. And we hope that now that it's reduced, there will be a total eradication of this kind of cases in the Southeast. So
there's so much stories to
take,
but we have to wrap things up here now. The Plateau State is also having security issues that is also represented here, and the governor is worried, but we can talk about that. Now, we received this message from one of our female fans, and she's asking for advice. She says, how do you deal with in-laws that disrespect you? For example, your mother-in-law asking you to wash dishes for your sister-in-law, who she obviously is older than, while her husband's young nieces and nephews, who are much younger than her, but can very well carry out these tasks, are around. What are your thoughts? Join the conversation and call us on 081-764-1679 or 090-241-63440, or tweet to us at TVC Connect using the hashtag YourViewTVC. Ladies, let me throw the question to you now. What should she do when she's been disrespected by her in-laws? The nieces, nephews are there who can carry out these tasks, but the mother-in-law is insisting she does it. What should she do?
So, I'll just, let me jump in. I'll jump in because I feel that a lot of, there are simpler ways to resolve issues like this. There's no need to feel disrespected. There's no need to feel disrespected if you are being asked to do. There's a lot of context to the story that we don't have.
Yeah.
We don't know if it is in a house or in the family house. Did you move into your in-laws' house? If you move into your in-laws' house, it is their domain. If you're not living in your own house that is owned by you and your husband, then whatever your in-laws say would be the rule, because you are the one that married into a family and it's not your house. So whether they should disrespect you or you feel like it is undeserved, just pray that you guys receive enough economical stability to be able to move into your own house. Now, if this is happening in your own house, like you and your wife, your husband are living in this house together, and your in-law, mother-in-law is coming in to tell you that your in-laws have used up dirty plates and they're asking that you be the one to wash it, then you would establish boundaries straight up. Like, this is my house. If it was in your own house, mommy, I will wash the plates, I will sweep the floor, I will wash everything in your house. But inside my own house, this cannot work. Everybody would wash plates after themselves, or you can go through the approach of having enough money and employing a house girl that will do all those kind of work for you. But I don't believe in fighting in-laws over issue, because you have a long-term relationship with them, establishing boundaries when necessary, be humble so that you can have a good, sweet relationship with them. But at the end of the day, just have money.
So basically, when they come to your house and they are asking you to do these things, it's disrespect.
Yeah. If it is in my house, you can't tell me how to live in my house. If it's in my house. If I'm in your house, your rules. Your house, your rules. My house, my rules. I am living in my house, my husband's house. I determine how I want things to go. If I am living in your house, and there are some cases where people get married into a family house, and you are using a family kitchen, in such cases, you would be forced to, with humility, do all the chores that you probably feel it's an insult. You swallow it until you get to your own place where you can do shakara.
Amola is shaking her head because I'm wondering why she's shaking her head.
I'm shaking my head because even if you are in their house, you need
some level of respect, right?
Exactly. You need to read the Riot Act to them. And it's all about, yes, and it's all about charisma and how you carry yourself. I cannot go to my mother-in-law's house. You see me and tell me to go and wash plates. Mommy. No. I can wash plates for my mother. I can wash plates for my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law that is older than I am. But the younger ones, what are they doing? I know Yoruba culture has this thing about, you have to call your, even if the niece, the younger person is like 10 years younger than you are, you need to call, because you're marrying into their family, you need to call them auntie this, auntie that, auntie that. So that means I should now clean up after them. It's total disrespect. And I think it also has to do with how the lady has carried herself from the beginning. Maybe she's that people pleaser. Like me. Exactly, because it is how you carry yourself that people you carry. You need to tell people how to treat you if they're not treating you right. Because if you allowed it the first time, the second time, the third time, so they're not used to it and they're telling you to go ahead and do it. Because as it is right now, it's like she's living in that house. So it's either they're telling her that, you have overstayed your welcome, come and go, or they just think that she does not have any value that she brings to the table. So you're not bringing anything, you're not bringing money, you're just sleeping, you're just waking up. Make yourself useful. So it's actually one out of the two. So what I would advise in that situation is that she should get busy, get a job, wake up in the morning, even if you haven't gotten the job, go out. When you come back, maybe like 5, 6, 7, 8.
Where are you going to?
I'm going to look for work. It's because she's available.
Start doing it. Wash plates.
Are they paying her for it? It's because she's available now. She's not doing anything. That's why they're using her anyhow.
When I was first reading the story, the first thing that came to my mind is, what's her husband's stand on this issue? Is he saying, don't worry now, just wash it? Or is standing up for you and saying that, no, my wife can't. You know, these things are important because you would have seen the signs before marriage, knowing fully well that my husband is this person that reveres family, right? And anything my family says is the right thing. So whatever it is you're facing now, just deal with it. And also, I like to say to women, have your own. You know, there's this popular quote that say money cancels insult or something like that. So in a case like this, you can actually employ somebody to do the dishes. You can take that responsibility off you by providing the resources used for that. And one thing Yoruba would always say also is that, one, don't use it to smell your nose. So if you know that you cannot continue washing plates 20 years down the line, don't start it. Exactly. Right? So it's very important to set the boundaries, like she said, from the beginning. I understand that some families are different. It's not so easy to put those things in perspective at some point. And I'm also saying that there are times where you see that maybe it's just your parents, in-laws in the house, you know, and you can offer to help them in those cases. But when there are other children in the house and, you know, there are people that can actually take on this role, I don't mind.
There's nothing wrong with washing plates,
There's
right?
nothing wrong
Doesn't take
in
anything
it.
from you, right?
I feel that there's nothing wrong, but it is the consistency of it.
We don't know how consistent they are.
They're always telling her to wash plates. That's what the story says.
And you know, for some ladies, washing plates is like, just kill me. I don't like this housework. You know, sweep, wash clothes, they can do that, but that washing plates. So it depends also on the personality of the lady. So there are many things to pick out from this story.
I take sides with the aspect of the husband, because for me, that was the missing point for me. What is his stand concerning this matter? What had been her relationship with her in-laws? What was it like before they got married? Now, if you had seen the red flags such as this, what were your complaints? What was the conversation you had with your husband with regards to these things, and how did he deal with it? Now you are being faced with it and you are burdened by it. How are you engaging your husband to say, look, this thing is going on all the time? Obviously, he's missing.
Yeah.
Because if he said something to defend her, to draw the line, because sometimes when you're engaging with your in-laws, the man should take, especially from the husband's side, the man should take the lead. Yeah. But here he is missing, not taking the lead. So perhaps she's not talking to her husband or cannot even speak with her husband with regards to this issue. That is why this thing is going on. Because if she can't speak with her husband,
then it should have been addressed.
Then it should have been addressed.
There are many layers to it.
There are layers to this issue.
He didn't give enough.
Does he respect her as well as his wife? Even if you are in your family house, like someone suggested, Indians live together. How do they do it? Right? We don't know the culture where she's from, what part of Nigeria she's from, speaking with regards to this issue. But yes, we know cultural aspect, like you mentioned, Yorubas have things like that. But the man, he is missing. He needs to step in to resolve whatever it is that is going on between his mom and his wife at this point. Because the relationship, like you mentioned, is a long one. It's not something that you are going to do, even if they move to their house.
So the thing when I say you are living in their house is, when I travel, I stay with some family and friends. And when I stay there, because I understand that here I'm enjoying free accommodation and I'm probably eating their meals, I ensure that I step up in washing of plates.
Or doing one chore or the other.
I find it easy to just do washing plate because I don't like washing bathroom. I don't like washing toilet. I can deal with washing plates. So I quickly do that one before there will now be a reason to bring up. And because it's just an appropriate thing to do because I'm staying in your place. And so I find that's why I said that if you are in their house, you are enjoying their kindness. You will not take anything as insult. You will take it as life happening to me because of where I am part-time.
Right.
And you will remind yourself to, with humility, go and work hard. And when God blesses you, there's some insults that you don't need to fight. Yes, you know you are being insulted, but you will take it. You will take it because you understand the fact that there's a season. And in a short while, God will change your story and you'll be able to, you will not do shakara to them because that's a wrong mindset to have when you're praying for a testimony in your life. But I've heard stories of a friend of mine who said that she goes to her in-laws' house. She was married into a rich family, and her in-laws would cook basmati rice, and they would not give her. They would tell her they should cook normal local rice for her. And she will eat the local rice. There's no need to be angry about those.
Absolutely.
Like, there's no need. I'm giving food. Sometimes they'll be like, did you dish snail for, no. It's meat. Snail is only for Oga and all of that. No problem. You can move the snail. I'll eat fish. There's no wahala. And she took those experiences then. But the truth is today, God has changed her story completely. As in, she has lifted that entire family. It's not like the other people are not doing well, but they don't talk to her like that anymore. When she gets home now, they open fridge and say, what do you want to drink? What do you want to eat? But there was no struggle even when those things were happening. Because when she was recounting those stories to me and my friends, we were always like, Omo, you're trying, no, God will help you. Another of the friends will be like, don't even go there, don't eat again. Before you go there, eat in your house. Once they want to offer you those kind of insulting circumstances, you just say you're not eating. Me, I was of the opinion that God is your help. When God changes your story, even those that were insulting you, they'll be the ones sharing testimony on your behalf and your story to encourage others. So I'm always of the approach of that, stooping to conquer, taking the high road, understanding the fact that it might be like insults today, but tomorrow.
It takes wisdom to be able to do that and maturity. If you haven't gotten to a level where you have matured enough to understand that this is just for a season. And that I will get out of this at some point. But then again, let's look, aside from her, let's even look at the mother-in-law who is pushing this thing. And even the sister-in-law that is pushing this thing. Why are you doing that? What do you want to achieve? Are you trying to cause a rift within the family? Why do you have to go in that direction, knowing that there are younger persons who can handle these chores, aside your son's wife? Why are you not looking in that direction? It's a question.
That's why, as a woman, before you get married, you must have value. You must have something that you are bringing on board. When you see some
you have to have something to bring on.
Yes, you have to.
You see the lady as your daughter.
No, you have to have something that you're bringing on board.
Yes, I know your daughter will wash plates.
That is why.
But then you should know when to push something.
There's a difference. There's a difference between how a sister-in-law will treat a wife that has her own and the one that does not have.
Money is...
Exactly. You see them, oh, Auntie Tobe, this is that, because they know what you bring. When you're coming, you bring gifts, you bring good tidings and everything.
But there's this downside to that. Calm down. You have Come here, good morning.
Good morning.
Right, go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, Auntie Veronica, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I agree with what Mr. Tope said. And I want to share this, my experience. I've been in a marriage. I had a first child. But you know, things like this, it always happens when the wife is not welcomed in the family or our dowry is not being paid. In my own case, my mother-in-law will be, we not come ask your hand in marriage you. Now you carry belly, come our house. You know, all sorts like that. Even when I cooked for my proposed husband, she has also cooked. When I welcome him, your food is ready. My mother-in-law will bring her food to him and said, so if my son will leave my food now and now eat your own food. When I'm washing clothes, I will find out that the elder brothers, the younger ones, they threw clothes across my head. As in, I'm sitting on the stool washing, they would throw clothes across my head. That is how it's been done there. But I realized that I'm not welcome in this home. So I think it's either...
So how did you cope? How did you manage that period? What did you do?
What I did was, I was telling him, I did talk to him, my husband, I said, please, if it's one room, let's go and rent. We can't continue living in this place. And my mother-in-law will be like, so you want to take my son to one room? A child that I staying in a flat, and he has his own self, his own room. You can't take him out of this. Is a family house. I will be begging him. But at the long run, we thank God, we left that place. We got our own a room and parlor set, and we are okay with it.
But did your husband speak with your mother-in-law that they should, and his brothers, his siblings, that they should let you be?
The thing is, the family is one. I don't understand that kind of love in between them. Nobody there come. The thing is, the family is one. Nobody dares come in between them. He will always tell me, sorry, be patient, be patient. So I don't report my mother-in-law to him anymore because I don't want quarrel. Something that my mother-in-law will say, so you are now reporting my son to me. You are the one bringing problem. I keep to myself. In fact, I was the one saving money for our house rent.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, Tope, for sharing. Thank you, Tope, for sharing your story with us. It's an interesting perspective that she brought to this angle, that it's not just about having something to bring to the table, but how you also got in.
Got into the...
Yes,
Absolutely.
talking about she fell pregnant. It could be the circumstances that got you into the family in the first place might be the reason why they are acting in this manner. But I feel that there are different ways to addressing issues, even if you are not happy.
Well, like I was saying, let me conclude my thoughts on the value proposition. As a woman, before you get married into a family, we've all been saying it, have your own. Be valuable. Let people see that you have something that you're bringing on board. You're not just a push around. And when you get into these families, don't be a people pleaser. Let them know who you are from the beginning. Don't be kneeling there. You know you're not going to kneel down for the rest of your life. Don't start kneeling down and start calling everybody auntie, auntie, auntie. Let them know. And then talking about how you come in, that one too is also important because just like the caller said, maybe you just got pregnant. So that's, again, value. Because they just look at you like, you didn't even come and beg for you. Where are you coming from? You want to come and be wife here, this, that.
Have Rio on the
so
line
value is still at the center.
From Anthony. Rio, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead with your contribution.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to hear from you beautiful ladies, and I enjoy your program.
Thank you very much.
Now, what I want to say, I'm married. I've been married for over 15 years. I just want to, first of all, share my experience very briefly. You see, one thing is when you're married, as a man, for me, the first thing the Bible says, you leave your family and you cleave to your wife and you become one. So everybody has to respect that, first of all, to know that you are now one. There's nothing like, the family, like what the first caller said, like you can't come in between them. To me, that word doesn't exist. Once I'm one with my wife. There's this situation we traveled to see my mom. My kids were still young, very young, and I had all my sisters in the house. Then, my younger sister, I think she's the second to the last. And there was something she said to my wife. And I said, that was rude. Then the next thing my mom said, it's just a little thing. But in the family, when you're married to one of us, even if she's the junior one, the wife respects that. And I stood up and I said, where is that coming from? This is my wife. You cannot disrespect my wife in my presence. So I asked her, I said, go pack your things and let's go. I'm not going to take this. And my mom said, she's disrespecting her for saying something else. I said, you know what? My sister disrespected my wife and disrespected me. So I won't take that. There's nothing like tradition there. So moving forward, that's what happened. But moving forward, I think all men should know there should be a line. You know where to draw the line. Because that's the woman or that's the man you're going to spend the rest of your life with. If your man is not bold enough to speak, to say, this is my wife, and you must respect her. You disrespect her, you disrespect me. So if the man is not bold enough to say that, I'm sorry, the wife will be disrespected. That's just my contribution. Thank you.
Right. Rio, before you go, I wonder how the relationship, how you were able to resolve everything that happened and what the relationship between your wife and your mom, your siblings, is like right now.
Okay. How I resolved that? Sorry, I didn't put that. So when I said let's go, what now happened is that when my mom started to talk, I didn't want to disrespect her, so I kept quiet. When she was done, I said, the only way I will not leave this house is for my younger sister to come and apologize to my wife first and apologize to me. So when she did that, and I told my wife to apologize to my mom because she said she disrespected her. And I didn't want to flog that issue anymore. And I just said, okay, it's resolved. Then I told her, hug my mom, and she hugged my mom. Then I went to hug my sister. You know, the women saying now, my sister or my wife may not want to hug themselves immediately. So I waited for the right time, and that was done in the kitchen.
Oh, wow. Nice. Thank you, Ria, for sharing your story with us.
Wow.
Interesting one, how he was able to step
Resolve.
in to draw the line and also resolve the issues.
Because he's man enough.
Yes.
He's man enough. There are some men that are mommy's boys.
Exactly.
They do not even know what to do, how to approach.
Never marry a mommy's boy. Never, ever marry a mommy's boy. And the reason for that is, if you are someone that can, love your mom, be respectful to your mom. Your mom has paid sacrifice. I am a mother of boys, and I want my children to always be mommy's boys, but I want my children to be men. When you get married, you understand the responsibility as a husband. And you are defending your family.
It's okay. It's okay. Mommy's boys. Concluding the story. She should look at how to resolve this whole matter. We've gotten people who called in. If she's living in her in-laws' house, she should just try to handle this whole situation and, add value to herself, like you mentioned. Bring value to the table, and after a while, she and her husband can get their place moving, and then she draws the line. She determines how she wants to run her home, as it is, like we have mentioned, if she is staying at her in-laws' place. But if not, her husband needs to step in to decide how he needs to resolve the issues that is going on, like we heard from Rio when he spoke with us not long ago, talking about he's experiencing something similar, but he was able to step in to resolve the issues, draw the line, and ensure that everyone respects each other. So let's quickly move on now to our next story. A middle-aged man is saying that the woman, his name, anyway, Theophilus Ayodeji Obayan, has dragged his estranged wife before a grade A customary court sitting in Oke Edakure, Ondo State, for changing their children's surname to that of her new lover, according to him. His wife packed her belongings to another man's house in 2019 and immediately went to change their names to the name of the man she is currently with as we speak. Now, what are your thoughts? You can join the conversation with the same numbers, 081 07641679 or 0902416344, or you can tweet at us using @TVC Connect and the hashtag YourViewTVC. Now, the woman also responded saying that this man that took the case to the court was not married to her. Yes, they have, I think, four children. And they are within the range of 22, 20, 18, and 16. And that the man she is now with loves her and is ready to marry her. So the other one did not pay the dowry. And I think she's from the East, as it is. And the culture said that their culture is, if the man did not pay your dowry, the children belongs to the woman and her family. That's what it is. It seems like he did not understand that part. I am wondering why it took him so long not to have paid the dowry, as it is, and now taking the matter to court. These children are old enough to decide who they want to be with. She also complained, the woman in question also complained that the man was a deadbeat father. He wasn't responsible, he wasn't taking care of his responsibilities, and now there's someone else who is willing to take that responsibility. What should she do, or what should happen? Let's get your views, ladies. I'll begin with you.
Okay, so one of the things I'll first say is that culture emboldens. Culture sometimes gives you the lever to do something that you would think about it and say, I no try for this matter. But once you hear that, that's how we do in our side, right? For a Yoruba person now, for instance, if you get married to somebody, or you don't get married to somebody, get pregnant for the person, they'll say when the child is old enough, the child will look for the father. That's a Yoruba way of thinking. But Igbo tradition is different. It says even if the child belongs to us, until you do the right thing. And so, like you said, what would make the man wait at least 22 years before realizing that he was supposed to actually do the needful? Yes, irresponsibility was a major factor that was highlighted on this particular story. But in the end, I say that, women, we try, we have liver, right?
Had
because
the
first, you didn't think that he has not paid your bride price.
You had the second.
Third, fourth, age range, the youngest was 16 years old. And for the children, I say that, when 22, you now want to change your surname. In some homes, a 22-year-old child should be changing her name to her husband's surname at this point. But now you're changing it to another father that came along to take the responsibility of you. For me, this matter, it gets as it be.
It be as it gets.
Go ahead.
Okay, so when I saw this story, before I even finished reading it, I already concluded in my head that this man must be a deadbeat dad for the woman to be making a move to change her children's names. However, I think that move is just purely vindictive. It is not a rational decision.
How so?
Yeah, because you cannot just, it's not because the name has an issue. It's not because there's a curse on the name. It is because you just do not want those children to bear their father's name, because you think that you've carried all the responsibility, you've been the one doing mama, papa, became for them, so you deserve all the rights, to own them. But changing their last name... She made
the choice of having children for this man. Let's not forget that.
Let me finish my thoughts. It is important to note that changing their last name would not change their DNA. They are still his children. Because if you're going to show it, God forbid anything happens to them now, and then they're looking for a blood donor or somebody that needs to contribute something to their health, they would have to check the father's side. So imagine if they did not know where they came from. Maybe for example, now if these kids were really young and they changed their names and they did not even know who their father is or what the name is, blah 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 blah, it would cause a lot of problems for them. So bearing that surname is not just a name. It helps you trace where you are from. Exactly, your history, your heritage. It goes beyond just that name. So I don't see why she should, remove his name just because they have a rift. I think it's just purely vindictive, and it really doesn't make sense. And also, there's a possibility of subjecting those children to an emotional trauma. Yeah. Because, because the new man's family would never accept these children as their own. Because they would always, tell them that family and all of that. The children would rather, I think, stay with their father's names. At least they know that, okay, this is our father, even if he's a deadbeat, but this is our father. Do you understand? Unlike being a stranger in another, man's
the children are complaining. In this case,
it was the father that was
complaining. It was the father that complained.
That's what I'm saying, that there's a possibility that they are subjected to that emotional trauma. Because if they take another man's name, and that man's family does not take them in, do not really recognize them as legitimate children.
That.
Are you sure she thought about it? I don't think she thought about it.
Before she decided to take this step of changing their name.
Yeah.
We cannot decide that she had not made up. She said the man loves her. This new man loves her. And if he's encouraging, and he's willing to take up the responsibility. So it is not a matter of the children having an acceptance. There is someone who is willing to take care of me and my children.
At 22 and 20 and 18.
But it's not about, you don't have to bear somebody's name for them to take care of you. Do you have to bear somebody's name for them to take care of you?
You don't have to.
You have mentors, you have godmothers.
But she's also perhaps looking at the aspect of culture. He did not pay my dowry. The children belongs to me.
Yes, yeah, talk.
Exactly. Let me leave the floor.
So
Smiling.
I have to smile because every show with its own drama and these stories, we ask people to tell us their story and
They have told
an
their stories.
interesting storytelling experience. So one thing is the names are powerful. You know, our name is a part of our unique identity. You know, our name has a profound psychological effect on who we are, and culturally, people that have names they feel does not speak life to them, people legally go to change their names.
Absolutely.
And there are many reasons people have change of names. There are many reasons people decide that this is not the path I want to carry. And many of those reasons sometimes are emotional and largely spiritual. Those are like the two key reasons people change their names. They feel like, the emotion I have when I hear this name, because they say hearing your name gives you an emotional, psychologically, your name gives, hearing your name being called, either gives you an emotional feeling, and it can be a positive or a negative one based on the emotion you are associated with that name. Yeah. So if every time the mother has called that name, the emotional attachment that she has to that name and the children have to that name is a negative one, she can decide that because I want my children to have a clean slate, because God has blessed me with another man who is willing to accept these children for who they are, regardless of their bloodline, I am willing to give these children the benefit of a name that is supported by a father that cares and loves them. And I think it is important because fatherhood is beyond you donating your yourself to that child. Fatherhood involves the fact that you are responsible. A father is a protector, is a provider, is a disciplinarian. If you are not a protector, a provider, a disciplinarian, you're not a father.
You have failed.
You have failed as a father. So why exactly are you trying to claim that child? Why are you holding? Why would a man that has not stood in the role of a father want to claim fatherhood over a child you did not father in any way, apart from
That's a big question.
So for me, the woman might be making an emotional decision, and the children can decide after a few years to say they want to change it back to their father's name. So I think that when it comes to this situation, the children, the woman, the father all of them need to ask themselves questions on why are they deciding what their decision is. Like, why do I want to change the name? Why am I contesting this change? If I did not like these children, why am I now arguing that they're not my children? Like, there's no need. That's on one side. Another thing I feel like we should also discuss is the perspective of these children have an opportunity. They have opportunity to bond on a closer note to a man that loves and cares about their mother and about them. And if that is a choice they want to make, they should be allowed to make it. You shouldn't be changing name for a 22-year-old, though, madam. A 22-year-old person is an adult. An 18-year-old is an adult. The only person that you can be even considering would be the 16-year-old. And the 16-year-old is a teenager. A person can decide that I'm not really bothered about this name change you want to do. Then let's go to the culture. Because we live in a country that prioritizes culture. Somebody I know wants to get married, and the father was telling them that, this is not my wedding. I'm your father, but I cannot be the one to marry you. That you are my first daughter, so by virtue of that, the wedding is the village's wedding. Yeah. The wedding must take place in the village. Our elders in the village will write the letter and give a list of what they demand from your husband. I was like, eh? Yeah. So it's not culturally, whether she's modern or anything. The point is, she is not the daughter of that man alone. She's the daughter of the family. And she needed to respect, her marriage must respect the family lineage. So if this woman is saying that my bride price was never paid, and culturally, all my children are not your children, you argue with your keypad, go to court and fight it. Customary law is also recognized. So your children are not your children because of your biological donation to their birth. Your children are your children in their culture based on the fact that you have paid the bride price. You don't own her, you don't own anything she gives birth to. So please, go and do the right thing.
In the case where in the Yoruba culture, it is different. Which culture now supersedes the other?
It's my culture.
It's the woman's culture.
As a
Man's
woman,
culture.
yeah,
The woman.
it's a woman.
It's the
It
woman.
is if
Are
they are
you sure?
married, she becomes your culture.
Yes. They are not married. He
Yes.
didn't pay the dowry.
Pay the dowry, you're not-
Four children.
4 children.
Just like that.
Why is he even waiting up to this point to say that? Why are you changing the name of my children now? What was he doing all the while to take care of these children? Is he saying the woman did not say anything with regards to paying her dowry, doing what is necessary to be...
You see people that are in their 50s going to pay dowry
I mean...
when they have the money.
Of course,
Because
we recall there
culturally-
was a story of a popular actor whose wife died, and they wanted to go and bury her. And they
did not
said,
allow.
no, they did not allow because he did not pay the dowry.
You can't bury her in your village.
You
She'll
cannot
come back,
bury-
she's our child.
Yes, he couldn't bury her
Culture,
because of that.
anything
So
called culture.
it's tricky as it is. We have a phone call on the line. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead with your contribution, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Actually, I would like to start from the first one. That because I've been trying your line ever since.
All right.
Whereby the lady was living with the mother-in-law,
Yeah.
and they had altercations. So what I would just like to say is that if you are a woman, and you're living with your in-laws, you have to accommodate a lot of things. But what you need to do, or you need to do, is to get your husband on your side. Be patient and try to, for my own case, I'm a Muslim, and I understand, that if you maltreat your wife, if somebody's daughter and your partner, and you must not maltreat her, they will outline it for you. This is what you do. So even if your siblings are behaving or your mother like this, the sin is upon, it's like a sin upon you if you don't protect her, right?
Right.
So you just have to protect your wife. The best is to live separately. But there is no way you will live with your in-law that there will be no tracker. There will be me back on, we taking a call, little things that doesn't even mean anything. And it will lead to disrespect, from your in-laws. Another thing is that when you have your own apartment, what do you do when your in-laws come to visit you or to stay with you?
Yeah.
The wife has to, pay lots of, diplomacy, or maturity in handling things. Some in-laws can be troublesome. Although I don't have that in my family, so I'm just lucky. From my mother-in-law, my baby, like.
Right. Engineer Ibrahim, thank you for your contribution to the first story, bringing the religious aspect to the conversation. Damal, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I wanted, not on this particular
topic,
story.
the second topic, yeah.
Right. So there's a clause in this story about the man asking for access to his children and the woman denied. When she left in 2019, she took the children away. And we also have to highlight the issue of women actually denying the fathers of their children access just because they want to punish him, they want to hurt him, and then they come out to claim to be the victim. Like, how do you take away access and then you expect him to, you are not discussing anything with him, you're not giving him information on what he needs to pay or what not to pay? Because there's some women that actually play the victim because they are just spiteful, they are bitter. I know there are things that happen in relationships, that can cause you to be bitter towards your baby daddy and all of that. But first of all, you need to consider the health of that child or the health of the children, because they cannot be seeing you doing back and forth bitterness with the man, and then you expect to actually groom,
raise,
emotionally stable children.
Yes, a wholesome child.
Exactly. So, and then this man that she even wants to change her children's names to, they are not even married, though. She said she has found a man that she wants to marry.
So there's uncertainty there.
Yeah, there's also uncertainty. So why don't you even just relax? Calm down. Calm down. See how the marriage goes before you now decide to say that, okay, you want to change your... Because I'm also assuming that this man also has his own children, because for a man to want to marry a mom of 4,
there's a possibility that he's also been married, has his own kids before and all of that. So at least, you know, let them settle into, understand them properly. Hopefully it will not be a case whereby one child will not come and say, hey, you're a bastard, you are not a child in our house, you're just using our name. You know, I think there has to be that balance,
Absolutely.
you know, before she makes that move.
Yeah, I think she's just being emotional at this point.
Exactly.
And she needs to sit down and rethink her decisions, especially
Absolutely.
because this man has not married her yet. Whatever he's encouraging her, whatever steps she's asking her to take, she needs to have a rethink and just wait to see how things move and not just be emotional about everything, because these are critical decisions that you are taking that has long-term implications on the children and even herself.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, and she needs to be very careful, because men, when they want to marry you, and they will throw you a lot of things, don't worry, I will adopt your children, I'll do this, I'll do that. Enter. And they will show you pepe.
From this conversation, I'm hearing that love is not enough.
Obviously.
At this point. So for lovers, people that are just dating, I like him, I like her, it doesn't cut it these days. Know the culture of the person you're dating, because these days people are falling pregnant for somebody that is just your boyfriend without getting married to the person. So I'll say that know the culture, right? Even for same ethnic groups, we realize, so for example, some parts of Yoruba say they don't this one to Ijebus, right? And even Igbos also would say that they don't marry from a particular state. Yeah. And you are just going as a young person, just being happy in love and all that. It is now when instances happen, you will now begin to question these things. So, for example, now when somebody dies, you know, how is the burial rites going to be? Yeah. So those are questions that we need to ask ourselves, even beyond, I love you, talk your own. You know?
Unfortunately, young persons these days do not like having critical conversations. As it is, to really understand what they are stepping into. They'll tell you, when we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. Whatever it is, we'll just walk through it. But it doesn't happen like that, especially where culture is involved, religion is involved. You know, and the parents of these people will just be looking at you, okay, go on, just continue. When you now get to that junction, that's how they're saying. And so they now need to begin to have critical conversations to understand what you are getting into, so that you know whether you should release your love or hold it back. As it is, no, it's the truth. Except that, okay, you guys can say, we'll pray together, if you are Christians, for instance, and you will walk through, because God is saying we should journey together. And so we'll be ready to take up this responsibility and walk through whatever challenge it is at this point.
I want to go back to the woman. You know, a woman has 4 children for a man that is not, you're not legally married to, you're not traditionally married to. I think women need to become more discerning and decisive. You know? You need to read the room early enough and be discerning enough to say, I'm not doing. I've had one, let me move. You should be decisive to say that I've had 2 children, he's been beating me.
Perhaps she was
hoping
that
we are hoping for change and hoping somebody will become what you expect without any evidence.
You know that there's a conversation at some point that people will say, when I have more children for him, he will look in.
When I have a male child.
Whether male or female, if I have more children for him, he will decide to take this step.
That's why we're having this show. This show is supposed to help us help women to become more enlightened, more aware. So women, please be more discerning, be more decisive, read the room early. Don't have 4 children without marriage in any form, not traditional, not white. They haven't paid your bride price. What's the commitment level of your partner to you for you to give 4 children to this person and almost, about 20 years of your life or even 16 years of your life to this person, and then you're changing your mind later? This are hoping for change in women has put a lot of women into crisis. Women get beaten. Some women lose their life because they are waiting and hoping the man has changed. They will beg you, you will go back into the marriage. The man will say, don't worry, I'll marry you in the next 3 months. Let me save money. You will go back there and born 2nd child. You go back and born 3rd. Let's make up your mind. Your life is more important. You are more valuable than just being a wife. There is more to a woman than being a wife. And just move on.
We have a caller on the line. Nanli calling from Abuja. Nanli, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Honestly, I want to first of all appreciate this program.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You ladies are wonderful. In fact, I want to refer to this program as Marriage Clinic.
Thank you.
If people will honestly follow what you are saying and the contributions. I want to briefly say something about the first issue.
Okay.
Honestly, I want to say that men have a lot to do because you are the shield, the protector, the father, the lover, everything of your wife. I had this experience when I first got married. My sisters felt because I'm the only man in the family, in my mother, they felt I should, whatever they wanted to do in the house, they would do it. Without even without even taking directives from my wife. And I said, no, this is my wife. The two of us have become one by our Christian intention. She is part of me. And whatever you do in this house, you should regard my wife as part of me. So if you are taking, you're asking for something from me, you should know that you are asking that thing from my wife. Because I'll share it with my wife. So men have a lot to do to protect their wife. Believe you me, sometimes the problem is from the men. You allow your sisters, your parents, your relations to treat your wife as a contract citizen. So,
Nanli, thank you so much for that, your contribution, and for standing up for your wife at the time she needed that help. It's good to hear stories coming from men, not women now, but from men saying it themselves that they had to stand up for their wives, especially with regards to the first story. But back to the second story, taking it up from where Tope stopped, with regards to women making decisions and asserting themselves is very important, because earlier I was mentioning that this decision of the man she decided to have these children for was hers. It was hers. So she needs to have some introspection as it is. Like, what am I not doing right? Yeah. Why am I being so emotional? Sometimes women get to a certain stage, they feel they are being societal pressure, oh, it's time to get married, it's time to just have babies and do this and do that. Yes, there's time for all of those things, but you need to understand the right person, that it is important you do these things with the right person, else they have long-term effect on you and the children you will have out of that union. It's important we understand that. When you see a person that you call irresponsible or deadbeat, he showed those signs before you decided to have children for him.
Right.
But you decided you were going to continue on that path. Why? Because you felt you could change him, or because you felt, okay, this is just a temporary thing with a man. Whoever is deadbeat, it takes a lot for the person to even decide that I want to change. He has to understand that I am not doing what is needful of me. I'm not being responsible. I need to change.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't wait years on to start telling us he is deadbeat, and you had 4 children.
As in,
4 children.
You were there for like 19 years.
How were you taking care of them? He did not support you for the first one. You went ahead to have the second one. It is critical and important for women to begin to decide, read through the lines, assert yourself, know that you have to be responsible for the decisions you make at the end of the day. Yes.
When you were speaking, I was thinking about what good could have been in this woman. You know, there's a saying that says, whenever you wake up, that's your morning. She may not have had the courage to stand up and leave this marriage in the last at least 22 years, but the moment she realized it, and you know, that's one of the things that a lot of women would stay in situations because they're thinking, what would society say? How can I just leave this man like that after 22 years? But the woman made a good decision. She stood up, and that was her morning, because she was able to now see that life could be better, right? It's better late than never. I do not subscribe to the fact that she had for her and all that. But I think that as women, irrespective of the situation that we find ourselves in, the moment we realize that we cannot take this again and it's going to have a long-term effect on us,
Right.
irrespective of the age. We should please walk away and move on from
Walk away,
such
but don't go
situations.
from frying pan to fire. You have to be careful.
Yes.
That's another aspect. Samuel is calling from Okeodo. Samuel, good morning. Go ahead with your
good morning,
contribution.
Ma.
Yes, good morning.
The first topic,
Yes. Hey.
I'm
Wow.
experienced of it.
Okay.
That first one, that when I got married in 2005, before I married my wife, we court for 5 years before I got married to her. And after that, gave birth to my fourth child, in female. After 1 year and 3 months, my wife fell ill, serious one. When I saw it, I thought that she wanted to run mad. My family came in. They summoned me for meeting, for me to divorce her. I called my uncle then. I said, if my sister, something like this happened to her, what you the family, the husband family did not come to his place, or any of his parents did not come. How do you people feel about it? I said, I know God have ready for me to marry her. God have me to settle that family. I will never go back, except God not want us to marry. I told my family like that. I said, nobody in my family will separate me and her. And the second issue is this, and today now, the woman is the best in the house. I will not lie to you. I'm very proud of her. She's the best in the house.
That's nice. That's nice.
Sweet.
The second one is that my younger sister, they say tradition. My younger sister married an Igbo man, and he never paid her bride price. The same 4 issue. 4 children, they with her there with her husband. But I forced them to come, the man to come and pay bride price. Why my sister could not carry those children and take them to the another man said that because the husband is not worth doing. For my place, so for my tradition, and from Edo State, my tradition is that I pay your dowry, I not pay your dowry. If you take my child away from me, whatever the consequence you see. That's for my from Isako. If those children take name to that man, none of them will survive it. None of them will survive it.
Wow.
All those are tradition of a thing. You know that the man doesn't have anything to do it before you marry her.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
Wow.
Please, let me just speak
Thank
to the
you,
culture
Samuel.
thing. Each culture is different.
Absolutely.
And what you submit to is what rules over you.
Absolutely.
So if I'm married to Edo, but I do not submit to that culture. And yes, we did all the marital rights, so we are legally bound together. But if we didn't do any of the legal rights, whatever that process that happens within the Edo family, that if a woman takes the children away and the children actually die, I've heard that story before, it wouldn't happen to me because I don't submit to that culture. And let me give a practical example of this that my mentor, Mrs. Jumoke Adenowo, gave. She said that there were lots of sacrifices made in Edo Kingdom, in the Benin Kingdom, prior to slavery, because they did not want the white men to come and enslave them.
Yeah.
But the white men, even though if you were an Edo person that entered into the shrine, you would have died. But the white men did not understand why that shrine was important. They went there, they scattered, they took away all the...
Because they did not submit
Because they did not submit to that culture. Yeah. So culture is important, and your submission to that culture is important. That's why I said that the woman was going to still align with her culture because that is where she's from. And even though the man is married to a Yoruba person, when we do weddings and you come to marry me, you are going to subject yourself to my culture as a woman. You will not marry me in your Edo way. You marry me in the Yoruba way. So it is extremely important we identify and align ourselves.
I think I'll use the word believe as against
submission.
Yes. Once you believe something, that's what works for you at the end of the day. But he mentioned something about he intervening with regards to his sister's situation. I'm wondering, for this lady, her family, what did they say? Where were they? What were they saying with regards to this matter? Or did she just cut them off and say, this is my life,
or maybe they've given up on her. Maybe they have complained and complained.
All of that.
Don't burn. You they burn for.
Comments, yes, we have
on
YouTube.
Okay.
Yes, so Aunt Nam says she has 4 years with the first man she was in love with. All of a sudden, wants to jump on another man and change the identity of her children to the new man. read. Benedicta says, I wonder, I've been wondering which one is, okay, American braids, they were referring to your hair.
Oh, well,
Then she also goes on to say she just found another mugu that will take responsibility for her children. Oh my goodness, my mom is watching. Oh.
hello, Mom.
So she says, when you wake up is your morning, good one. My mom is tech savvy now. So Benedicta Adeito says, also some people blame culture for not being able to afford paying dowry. Just make it easy for people. Don't use traditional marriage process as an excuse to go through the impregnation route.
Yes, you know that from where she's from, people have talked about the demands, how expensive it is to, you know, when they are asking for bring this, bring that for.
If you know you cannot afford it, why are you going into it in the first
Well,
place? At least when you meet a babe, you ask her, where are you from? Once they tell you I'm from this place, this place, this place, go and hustle and bring the money.
Love is blind.
Go and bring the money.
Well,
My own love
whatever
can
it
see.
is, I think right now she needs to calm down and ensure that she's taking the right decision, not just for herself or her children, because it might come back to haunt her at the end of the day. This is where we'll wrap things up.
I would also like to
show
now. It is the children's decision to make, Sha.
Well, quickly remember that life itself is a story, a recollection of events that shape one's journey on Earth. Do you want to share parts of these stories with us on Your View? This will enable people to share in your experience and learn valuable lessons, life lessons from them. You can also get answers to troubling questions and possible solutions to any challenge you're facing. And you can do this anonymously or otherwise. Send such touching stories to us on yourview@tvccommunications.tv. Tell your story today. Share your burning issues with us on Your View on TVC. That's all we can take on the show for today. My director is talking to me. That's why I'm trying to be fast. Bye for now.